the Honorable Prime Minister, the Honorable Leader of Opposition, uh, members of the House. Mr. Speaker, I rise this morning to deliver my contribution, this afternoon to deliver my contribution to this August House, August Parliament in response to His Excellency, Major General Retired George Kondraty's opening remarks on Monday, 30th November for the 2020-2021 parliamentary session. Before that, Mr. Speaker, I wish to welcome the two new members to this House, Honorable Lal and Honorable Tanya Wanganake. Mr. Speaker, I wish to thank His Excellency the President for his most gracious speech. Mr. Speaker, His Excellency the President very rightly laid the platform for the new session of the Parliament for government to focus on three priority areas: our containment of COVID-19, our economy's recovery, and our response to climate, oceans, and the biodiversity crisis over the next 12-month period. Mr. Speaker, I share the sentiments of His Excellency on how Fiji was able to contain COVID-19 within our borders. For that, I must salute and sincerely acknowledge and thank our Honourable Prime Minister's strong and decisive leadership, all our health workers, our doctors, nurses, and management, members of the disciplined forces who have made a relentless yet successful effort to help us all be safe throughout these trying times. Mr. Speaker, the Ministry of Agriculture also did its best to assist all ministries to mitigate the negative effects of COVID-19 on the households as outlined by our Honourable Assistant Minister, Honourable Pillai. Mr. Speaker, while we are continuing with our programs to assist households concerning food and nutrition security, we are at the same time leveraging agricultural growth in national interest. In doing so, we will be able to raise national income, thus incomes of all those who participate in the agricultural growth process: the land owners, the resource owners, farmers and labourers, input suppliers, financiers, and improve the livelihood of households in the rural and maritime areas. We will be able to secure our households with regard to the food and nutritional requirements. We will be able to bring in much needed foreign exchange by exports of our agricultural produce and agricultural products. We will be able to save foreign reserves by substituting imported agricultural produce and agricultural product. We will be able to bring in idle land under productive use. We will be able to take market to the doorsteps of the rural farm households and create a rural economy. We will be able to create employment opportunities and improve livelihoods of our rural and maritime households. Mr. Speaker, I can assure this House that we are all well on our way to assist in the economic recovery process as requested by His Excellency the President. Mr. Speaker, by closer collaboration with exporters and farmers, we are expanding commercial agriculture throughout Fiji. We are facilitating the formation of farmers' clusters and contracting them with exporters, thus guaranteeing them with market and output price. We are providing these farmers with planting material and land clearing and land preparation support. Mr. Speaker, via this model, we have brought in thousands of hectares of new land under commercial agriculture. We have infiltrated new areas for commercial agriculture, areas where people never thought that they could participate and benefit from export earnings. These areas include Tailevu, Natisiri, Kamnasau, Nambitu, Seruan, and Darivatu, the remote villages in the heartlands of Vitilevu, Nendi, Latoka, Batavua, Nawairuku area and Rekireki, Undu Point, Gariniwai area, Wainikoro, Sengangam, Bua, Uduwe, Sabasabu, Kandavu, Lau, Yasawas, Tabuni. Mr. Speaker, we have brought hope to these interior and maritime communities that they too can participate and benefit from a growing agriculture sector. Mr. Speaker, I've said a number of times that when the economy grows, when the agriculture sector grows, then if you are able to get maximum people to participate in that growth process, then the rewards from the growth will be spread to this maximum people, the landowners, the input suppliers, the laborers, the households, farmers, etc., Mr. Speaker. So the trick of the trade is, Mr. Speaker, one, will ensure that the agriculture sector grows and expands and creates surplus. And number two, we ensure that a lot of people participate in the growth process rather than one or two large, giant commercial operators. Mr. Speaker, next week on the 18th of December, our Honourable Prime Minister will open the Highlands Agriculture Day at Nabutusila village. The Honourable Prime Minister will launch the Agro-Marketing Authority's Rural and Maritime Strategy, hand over planting materials for the Yangonan, Dalo, cassava, vegetables and fruit trees to farmers, and also hand over a tractor to the Nabutusila Farming Cluster. The Speaker this group in Nabutusila, right in the heartlands, in the interior of Ba province, they never thought that they would ever have a tractor of their own. Mr. Speaker this is just the beginning of how we are taking commercial agriculture to rural areas. Mr. Speaker through our partnership with the Fiji National Provident Fund, we are making these farmers members of the Fiji National Provident Fund. Mr. Speaker they too deserve to secure their retirement with pension, Mr. Speaker Mr. Speaker our commercial agriculture efforts are now bearing fruits. With IMA alone, we are now pumping back in the rural interior maritime region a sum of $350,000 every month. This is an increase of 88% when compared to 2019, the amount that was pumped into the rural and maritime area. Mr. Speaker $350,000 through one entity, one exporter alone, is a massive amount of money that goes to the rural and maritime community. Mr. Speaker agricultural production has been steadily increasing. For the first 6 months of 2020 this year, January to June, total crop production was recorded around 162,000 metric tons as compared to 145,000 metric tons that was recorded for the same period, first 6 months last year. In 2019, Mr. Speaker the sector contributed to 725.8 million to national GDP, with a growth rate of 5.7% compared to 2018. So a substantial real growth rate of 5.7%. This growth has been influenced by our key commodities such as Yangona, Dalo, cassava, ginger, which you will agree with me have been impacted by our continued successful research activities and policies. Mr. Speaker importantly, the volume of exports for the first 8 months of 2020 has increased by 15% compared to the same period 2019. Mr. Speaker despite all the restrictions, the curfews, the lockdowns, increase in freight rates, this is a substantial achievement that we have made. 15% increase in the volume of export these first 6 months this year relative to the first 6 months last year. Mr. Speaker it is indeed heartening to note that our efforts with the programs implemented by the Ministry of Agriculture are yielding positive returns. The Reserve Bank of Fiji announced through its November economic review that the Fijian economy is envisaged to contract by 19% in 2020 compared to earlier estimate of 21.7% contraction, and stated that this is from a higher than expected growth in the agriculture sector. I just read out the dollar value. Read the answer tomorrow. Order. Whilst the lower than anticipated declines in the wholesale, retail and trade, restaurants, hotel, the manufacturing construction sectors also contributed to this positive shift. Mr. Speaker agriculture has and will continue to play a pivotal role in our economic recovery process that His Excellency outlined. Mr. Speaker we are also looking at boosting local rice production as outlined by Honourable Pillai. Mr. Speaker we are determined to reduce the import bill, which currently stands at around $40 million. Mr. Speaker in few weeks' time, we'll be launching a major new rice production strategy for the next 2 years. Mr. Speaker a total of 24,000 acres of land is required to bring, if you want to have 100% self-sufficiency, Mr. Speaker over the last 12 months, we have made a small but significant progress in raising local rice production, Mr. Speaker Full sufficiency cannot be achieved overnight, Mr. Speaker but will be achieved progressively. Mr. Speaker our ministry is also focusing on enhancing research and development to fully support our strategic priorities. From 2019 to 2020, the ministry has released a number of new varieties in Dalo, in pigeon pea, in rice, which are suitable to the local condition as well as high-yielding varieties. Mr. Speaker, research is continuing on promising varieties of other crops so that we can contribute towards improving in productivity or yield by introducing new high-yielding varieties. Mr. Speaker, our ministry will also be releasing 2 new breeds of cattle that was initiated by the former Minister for Agriculture. Mr. Speaker, we are also continuing with our breeding programs for other livestock such as sheep, goat, chicken, and piggery. Mr. Speaker, we are pushing on with our ongoing program upgrading farm roads to create market access for farmers. From 2019 to 2020, the ministry has upgraded a total of 42 farm roads covering a distance of 62 kilometers. This will continue into the new financial year, aim for upgrading of 150 farm roads covering a distance of 378 kilometers. This road upgrade plan will ensure improvement of 64 new farm roads in the Central Division, 38 farm roads in the Western Division, 33 farm roads in Northern Division, and 15 farm roads in the Eastern Division. While this will take longer than 12 months to complete, we are building on our long-term development programs to support farming communities so that adequate resources can be secured. Mr. Speaker, the ministry is also considering the construction of additional new farm road for about 30 kilometers. Mr. Speaker, our ministry will continue to engage with partners such as FAO, SPC, with the farmers, exporters, food processors, and AMA to pursue product development. Mr. Speaker, I had alluded to earlier on that if you want to expand market for our agriculture produce, one way to do is to develop agriculture products. There's a limit to the extent to which we can expand market for agricultural primary commodities. I think the shift should be towards developing products, and we're working very closely with food processors as well as some of the private sector organizations who are wanting to get into food processing, such as Agrana, a company out in the Western Division. Mr. Speaker, the ministry has also very successfully conducted 3 consecutive agriculture shows in the Central Division, Northern Division, Western Division, October, which was aimed at showcasing agriculture products and produce to agriculture enthusiasts and stakeholders who are interested to venture into agriculture. Mr. Speaker, the ministry is also pursuing avenues towards improving information and communication system through digitization to enhance service delivery and engagement with our external stakeholders. The ministry will continue to support the use of new technologies and information in ensuring the agriculture sector remains competitive in a rapidly digitizing world. Like other line ministries, the Ministry of Agriculture is taking advantage of available online platforms to convene local, regional, and international meetings for their respective offices or also homes. Also, the ministry will be signing an MOU with the Ministry of Communications and other major telecommunication companies like Digicel, Vodafone, and Telecom Fiji in our effort to improve communication and service delivery. At the same time, we will be working on implementing a farm management information system so that we can ensure all relevant information to farmers and agriculture production is captured to promote agribusiness, achieve faster service delivery, and to allow quicker decision making. Information systems have been revolutionized virtually every sector of the economy, and agriculture will not be an exception. Mr. Speaker, the ministry will continue to work on its strategic priorities as highlighted in the 2019-2023 strategic plan, considering the 16 initiatives post-COVID-19 as the basis of achieving the overall objective of this priority. Mr. Speaker, His Excellency the President noted the third priority concerning our response to climate, oceans, and biodiversity crisis. Mr. Speaker, the Ministry of Waterways and Environment is undertaking numerous activities concerning the effort to protect our biodiversity and our communities from climate change. The activities of the Department of Environment was aptly highlighted by Honourable Pillai. Mr. Speaker, I will provide a brief update on the activities of the Ministry of Waterways. Mr. Speaker, the Ministry of Waterways was established by recognizing the fact that the management of waterways and preservation of Fiji's national environment shared several inherent linkages. Mr. Speaker, this was the vision of our Honourable Prime Minister and announced by Honourable Minister of Economy 3 years ago, Mr. Speaker, noting how important now it is to protect our communities, our infrastructure, our households from changes in climate. Mr. Speaker, this is the only country in the entire Pacific region to have established a dedicated Ministry of Waterways. Mr. Speaker said, we get requests and information every now and then, every time, at least on an average once a week about the activities that we're doing and how other countries can emulate in the Pacific region as well in the small states, Caribbean region, Mr. Speaker said. Mr. Speaker said, the ministry has positioned itself appropriately to deal with the worsening impacts of climate change. For example, coastal erosion, riverbank erosion, deepening challenges to our irrigation system. The establishment of the ministry reflects the government's long-term vision to direct the much-needed focus, care and support to the nation's most affected populace today and years to come. The ministry strives to live up to the expectations of the government and communities at every possible juncture. Mr. Speaker said, we have undertaken numerous projects in the above areas of watershed management, drainage and irrigation, riverbank and coastal protection. Mr. Speaker said, concerning watershed management, we have completed the establishment of 5 flood retention dams on Namaka and Mosi River. Mr. Speaker said, we are continuing our works on how our watersheds around the country needs to be protected, as any activity in these watersheds will affect downstream communities. Mr. Speaker said, we are very mindful of what is happening in our watersheds, what is happening upstream, and we need to ensure that we develop a code of conduct of those who are working upstream in our watersheds. Mr. Speaker said, downstream, we are spending a substantial amount of our resources to operate and maintain 7 irrigation systems located in Central and Northern Division. The total area under the scheme is 2,274 hectares. Mr. Speaker said, on an annual basis, we're spending a lot of money to maintain this irrigation system to ensure that our farmers continue to undertake agricultural activity at a commercial level out of this irrigation system. Mr. Speaker said, we're also continuing our drainage and flood protection works. Mr. Speaker said, under this program, we continue to maintain the entire public drainage system in Fiji without a single cent being levied to the farmers, which used to exist prior to 2006, Mr. Speaker said. This government removed the levy from our farmers, our public community in the rural areas, and the government is now picking up the entire bill to maintain the public drainage system. Mr. Speaker said, as you know, our coastal communities are now being threatened by the rising sea level. Mr. Speaker said, with the establishment of a dedicated ministry, Ministry of Waterways, we have now taken on ourselves to ensure that we protect these communities. Honorable Minister of Economy, about 3 years ago, dedicated the budget with the theme, securing our communities. Mr. Speaker said, we are now decided that we will protect these communities, the coastal communities, by establishing nature-based solution seawall. Mr. Speaker, this is based on the fact that and the international community is now recognizing that to deal with the problem caused by nature, we need to develop a solution outside or using the nature itself, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, most of you, not only this side, but on the other side, have seen our work in terms of protecting the communities by establishing a nature-based seawall. Mr. Speaker, our Honourable Prime Minister commissioned a number of nature-based seawall in Viro village, in Ravi Ravi village, in Madhuata, in Nambukandra village in Ra. Mr. Speaker said, we will be completing 18 seawall in this financial year alone. Mr. Speaker said, never ever before that level of seawalls were done to protect, in one financial year, to protect our coastal community, Mr. Speaker said. 2 more seawalls are ready, Mr. Speaker said, in Malo Malo and in Navindamu, in Madhuata, Mr. Speaker said. Brekeniwai seawall is about to be ready, Mr. Speaker said. Nananu Village seawall will be ready in another month's time, Mr. Speaker said. Mr. Speaker said, this is the rapid work to protect our coastal communities because, Mr. Speaker said, we had gone outside the textbook, outside the template to develop a cheap, eco-friendly, nature-based solution so that we can rapidly secure and protect our coastal communities. Mr. Speaker said, the ministry is operating towards self-sufficiency and has started to develop our resources, our mangrove and vetiver grass nursery so that we can continue to protect our communities. Mr. Speaker said, the Honourable Prime Minister, the Honourable Leader of Opposition, Honourable Ministers, members, I would like to thank you all for your attention, and I want to thank His Excellency, Major General Retired Giorgi Kondrote, our president, for his gracious statement. And I want to wish all of you a very Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year. Thank you, Vinaka.